Sarah and Ria had been best friends since class 1. They did everything together: homework, games, even jokes. Teachers often called them the twin stars of the school. Everyone knew they were always side by side, but things started to change in class 9. Ria won the science fair, and her photo was on the wall. Teachers praised her in every class. Sarah clapped with the others, but her smile was fake. More praises followed for Ria: debates, quizzes, and sports. She became the school's shining star. Sarah felt smaller each day. Her voice was quiet, and her heart was loud with jealousy. One day, Ria got selected for a city-level contest. Everyone cheered and hugged her. Sarah stood in the back, clapping slowly. Her eyes didn't shine like before. Ria noticed the change in Sarah. She asked, "Is something wrong?" Sarah shook her head and said, "No, I'm just tired." But the truth sat heavy in her heart. Sarah started avoiding Ria at lunch. She stopped sharing jokes and stories. She even changed her seat in class. Ria felt hurt but didn't know why. "I miss us," Ria said one afternoon. "We don't talk like we used to." Sarah looked away and replied, "You don't need me now." Her voice was cold, but her eyes were sad. Ria felt confused and alone. She tried to talk, but Sarah always walked away. The space between them grew bigger, and silence became their new language. One rainy day, a classmate fell during PE. Sarah ran to help, but slipped and hurt her arm. Ria rushed to her side without thinking. She held her hand, tears in her eyes. At the hospital, Ria stayed with her. She brought juice and held her books. Sarah finally spoke. "Why are you still here?" "Because I care," Ria said softly. Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks. "I was jealous of you," she admitted. "You became everything I wanted to be. I felt like a shadow beside you." Ria squeezed her hand gently. "You were never a shadow," she said. "You were my strength, my best friend. We always shone brighter together." Sarah looked at her and smiled. It was small, but real this time. The space between them began to close. Their friendship took its first step back. When school reopened, they walked in together. Some students stared in surprise. The twin stars were back again, but this time, their bond was stronger. Now, they celebrated each other's wins. They helped each other grow. No more shadows, only light and laughter, because true friends lift each other up. After they made up, things didn't go back to perfect. There were still quiet moments, still old feelings, but they were honest with each other now, and that made all the difference. Ria didn't shine alone anymore. She pulled Sarah into projects and events. "Let's do this together," she would say, and Sarah slowly began to bloom again. They joined the drama club as a team. Sarah wrote the script, and Ria directed it. Their play won second prize in the Interschool Fest. They hugged each other tightly on stage. "You were amazing," Ria whispered. Sarah smiled wide. "So were you." This time, her smile came from the heart. It was real, and it was proud. Back in class, people noticed the change. Sarah was no longer quiet or hiding. She raised her hand in lessons. She walked with her head held high. One day, their teacher gave a surprise task. "Each student must give a speech," she said. Sarah felt her old fear return. "What if I mess up?" She asked Ria. "You won't," Ria said with a grin. "I'll sit in the front row and cheer loud." Sarah nodded, still nervous but braver. She wrote her speech that night. When Sarah stood on the stage, hands shaking, she saw Ria smiling in the front. That smile gave her courage. She took a deep breath and began. She spoke about friendship and jealousy. She talked about shadows and light. Everyone listened in silence. Even the teachers were moved. When she finished, the room clapped loudly. Some students even stood up. Sarah looked at Ria, eyes shining. Ria gave her a proud thumbs up. After school, many classmates came to Sarah. "You were so brave." One said, "I felt the same before." Another added. Sarah realized she wasn't alone. That night, Ria called her. "See? I told you you're amazing." Sarah laughed. "Maybe I needed to fall first to rise," Ria added, "and shine brighter." As months passed, their bond deepened. They faced exams, late-night study calls, and stress. They supported each other through it all, and still made time to laugh. On graduation day, they wore matching ribbons. Ria gave a speech as school captain. She said, "Success means nothing without someone to share it with." Sarah clapped the loudest. They took photos under the school tree, a place full of old secrets and talks. They promised to keep in touch always, and to never let shadows grow again. After school, life took them on different paths. Ria went to medical college, Sarah studied literature in another city, but distance didn't break their friendship. They messaged every night, sharing everything: new friends, new struggles, new wins. Sometimes they missed old days, but they knew they were still side by side. Years later, they met at a cafe. Both were taller, wiser, but still the same. Ria brought an old photo of school days. Sarah smiled. "Look at us, twin stars again." They talked for hours, like no time had passed. Their friendship had been tested by jealousy, but it survived, and it grew. It became something unbreakable. Before leaving, Ria said something soft. "You were never in my shadow, Sarah. You were always the light I leaned on." Sarah's eyes filled, and she hugged her tight. The shadow between them was gone forever. What remained was love, trust, and truth. Two stars, shining in their own way, but always lighting the sky together. After their reunion at the cafe, they met often. Weekends became their catch-up time. They talked about college life and future dreams. Their bond only grew stronger with time. Sarah started writing short stories online. People loved her simple way of writing. Ria shared them with her classmates. She became Sarah's biggest fan. One day, Sarah's story was published in a magazine. She sent a photo of it to Ria. "You did it." Ria texted with heart emojis. "I couldn't have done it without you," Sarah replied. Ria, too, was doing well in her studies. She began working at a hospital as a trainee. The work was tough, but she stayed strong. Sarah called her often to cheer her up. Their friendship was now like a strong tree. It had survived storms, and now it stood tall. They had learned to share both joy and pain. No jealousy, only support remained. One evening, Ria called with big news. "I've been selected for a medical camp abroad." Sarah screamed with joy on the phone. "I'm so proud of you." Before leaving, Ria came to visit Sarah. They sat under a tree in the park. The same way they did during school, their hearts were full of memories. "You remember when I cried on your speech day?" Ria laughed. "You moved the whole room, not just me." Sarah blushed. "That was the day I felt seen." "And I saw you clearly," Ria said warmly. They promised to write letters while apart, not just messages, but real handwritten letters. They wanted to hold their words in their hands, to keep something they could touch and keep. Ria left for the camp a week later. She sent photos of children, villages, and sunsets. Sarah read each letter with joy and pride. She kept them safe in a box. While Ria was away, Sarah finished her novel. It was about two friends and a silent wall. She called it The Shadow Between Us. And she dedicated it to Ria. When Ria came back, Sarah gave her a copy. Her name was printed on the first page. Ria held it like a treasure. "You turned our story into something beautiful." They were invited to speak at their old school, the same place where it all began. They stood in front of the students and shared their story of friendship and healing. The students listened with wide eyes. Some laughed, some wiped their tears, many nodded, feeling seen and understood, because they, too, knew how jealousy feels. "Sometimes," Sarah said, "jealousy hides in love. But true friendship is stronger than envy." Ria added, "Talk to your friend. Be honest. That's how the shadow disappears." After the speech, the teachers hugged them. "You both have grown into amazing women," one said. Sarah and Ria smiled, feeling full and thankful. They looked at each other and knew they had made it. Years passed, but the bond stayed alive. Ria became a doctor in her town. Sarah opened a small bookstore and writing cafe, and they still met every Sunday. Their kids would one day hear the tale of two girls, one shadow, and one light, how they stumbled, hurt, and forgave, and how they found their way back, because in the end, the shadow wasn't between them, it was something they had to face inside, and by doing so, they became stronger. Together, they kept shining side by side.